Have been puzzled by this strange sight this week. These images of the Yangtze River, the longest in China, have been surfacing since Wednesday. This stretch of the river around Chongqing looks like it's been dyed blood red. Locals suspect that severe pollution is the cause, but Chongqing's environmental protection has another explanation: sand. Official reports are saying that flooding upstream washed excess sand downstream, turning the river bright red. The Bureau also made a point of saying they did not find any evidence of illegal sewage dumping, but netizens have been questioning the official announcement. Investigations are ongoing.
Okay, we've never seen pictures like this before from NASA. Amazing video of what looks like tornadoes on the sun.
Signs in the heavens and the earth.
And what we're seeing is that these events continue one after another.
Strange sounds being heard in the atmosphere. People around the world and here at home have reported hearing some bizarre.
Tonight, investigators are trying to solve a bizarre mystery in Flagler County.
Some strange noises heard around the world the last few weeks has people buzzing, especially on YouTube. Clips posted from Arizona to England and right next door in Manitoba, all showing folks alarmed by what sounds like a noise straight out of a science fiction flick. Valley News Team's Eric Craig.
Curiosity videos of what appears to be the same strange noise popping up from all over the world online. And as CJDC's Leah Bolton explains, it's not just videos from the other side of the globe. There is also one from right here in Dawson Creek. A sudden rise in YouTube videos from places all over the world has got people talking about the strange moaning noise that was supposedly in the sky between approximately January 9th.
Muitos moradores de Taubaté tomaram um susto hoje. Marcelo Espanha, boa noite para você. Conta melhor essa história pra gente.
Pois é, André, infelizmente eu não tenho essa resposta que todo mundo na cidade quer saber, né? O que há são muitos relatos de muitas pessoas que hoje de manhã houve um grande estrondo na cidade. Há relatos de pessoas dizendo que portas e janelas tremeram. Esse assunto ganhou as ruas, ganhou também a internet, só no nosso jornal eletrônico.
Heard something new, and it was a little scary.
That's a haunting sound, if we've ever heard one. And what could that possibly be? Somebody shut the door.
якраз той двір, у якому було зроблено загадковий відеозапис. Ось будинок за адресою Княжий Затон, 17. Ймовірно, саме з його верхніх поверхів і було зроблено.
An update from our desk back at the station. Emergency officials in Lower Bucks County have also received numerous calls about a large boom and the ground shaking, just like some folks were describing out here.
So far, no explanation of what happened here, but it really got the attention of a lot of people, even as far away as Ben Salem, reporting that they felt that their homes were shaking. Police radio have received a lot of calls. The police have received calls.
coming from there somewhere. I don't like how close that thing is.
Get the kids in the back.
It was just so intense, and as a result of that, I got involved. I contacted the Ministry of the Environment to find out what the issue was.
It's kind of like watching a scary movie. The background noise gives you the feeling that something terrible is about to happen.
Strange mild sound. It seems like it's coming from the sky anyway.
I've heard Jesus is coming back.
Okay, this is weird because Brittany and Jordan pointed this out to me in our backyard in Georgia. They called it a rainbow at night because it was nighttime and it was almost identical to this.
This phenomenon stretched beyond North Battleford. Similar experiences were reported in Saskatoon, northern Saskatchewan, and parts of the U.S., even in Europe.
Sonidos muy similares a estos.
I've never seen this before. Are you doing video?
I have never seen this before, and I'm doing video. That's
correct. Can we please send it to Jake Spain and the weather team?
That we are in the birth bank. Something is going on. We are in unprecedented, uncharted waters.
Something strange has happened in the skies above Britain. Police throughout Scotland and the north of England received calls of a bright light streaking across the sky on Saturday night.
These images over Harrogate, but there have been sightings across the country from Scotland, Wales, the north, right down to the East Midlands.
It was what observers are calling one of the best meteors ever seen in the UK. The object was seen as far south as Devon and may have landed in the English Channel.
Dozens of viewers have said they've seen a massive bright light in the sky in the last few hours, with most claiming it was a meteor.
You'll be hearing a lot about this next item over the next 11 months, but astronomers have identified a new asteroid about 150 feet across, which is headed our way and may come so close to Earth that it will pass between us and the satellites orbiting in space above us. There's some debate in the scientific community about whether a direct hit is even possible. This is called 2012 DA14. They say this will be the closest pass of an asteroid in the history of tracking such things. And again, while this pass is supposed to miss us, the experts all say there's nothing wrong with making sure your affairs are in order.
So should we be nervous about this whole thing?
Well, this is a serious story because the latest round of solar flares captured in this incredible video. Take a look at this. It's from NASA overnight. The bursts that you're seeing there, charged particles erupting off the surface of the sun. And we saw an even bigger solar flare Tuesday night. Right now, all of those particles are racing toward the Earth, as you said, about 4 million miles per hour. And it's growing as it gets closer to us. On top of that, the problems will arise when the flares reach the Earth's magnetic field, apparently. That's when we could see mass power.
It's like a cloud of birds, but a giant cloud.
It's really creepy. It's kind of like, is the world coming to an end here or something? I mean, it's scary.
The whole sky will fill up with black birds.
But it's crazy. It's scary, ain't it?
How many do you think?
1 million.
It's like we're being held hostage.
Held hostage in maybe a 3-mile radius by blackbirds.
When it comes down, it sounds like rain coming down. I mean, literally, from inside of our apartment, you think that it's raining outside.
What a sight this is. Thousands of dolphins swarm a whale-watching boat off the coast of Orange County.
You're looking at hundreds upon hundreds of dolphins breaching out of the water. The unusual spectacle was caught on tape.
Here it comes. Okay, release easily.
Take it away from us, Lord. Take it, Lord. Take it, Lord. Take it away from us, Jesus. Father God, all powers in your Son's name. Take this up away from our home.
This morning, killer storms.
And those storms are not over just yet. Cities torn apart after taking a direct hit from rare winter tornadoes. They're now bracing for more of the same.
Among the places hardest hit, Harrisburg, Illinois. 175-mile-an-hour winds, 2 football fields wide, left people dead. Homes were shredded, a strip mall flattened, entire buildings knocked off their foundations.
It's just unreal. It's like a war zone.
A somber Saturday morning as hundreds of thousands wake up to sheer devastation. This entire town's all gone, flattened in a flash. This massive storm spawned more tornadoes in one day than we usually see in an entire month.
Here's what we know right now. At least 29 people dead. This is the second round of killer tornadoes just this week.
95 tornadoes ripped through yesterday. If those are all confirmed reports, this would be the greatest tornado day, one-day event in March for all history.
Okay, look at this. This is awesome. Luke 21:25. There would be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. What is that?
From a series of powerful earthquakes sending shockwaves through Japan.
That is the same area that was struck last year. There was a small tsunami in that area, and about 3 hours after that, another major earthquake.
But we will see continent-shattering earthquakes. We're seeing now too many anomalies, especially on the New Madrid. The rest of the world is coming apart at the seams.
from geologists down at UW-Madison is that this is clearly not consistent with earthquake activity.
People in this community won't stop coming up to us tonight, telling us that they're still hearing this loud boom tonight, and then they feel the ground shake just a little bit. Now, this boom isn't coming up from the sky, but rather it's coming from down below.
Aftershock shook Mexico City. It comes after a magnitude 7.6 earthquake struck 120 miles east of Acapulco.
There seems to be a systematic effort to downplay the earthquakes and especially their intensity. And we're now in the realm of lame excuses for everything. You know, it's amazing that people just seemingly take the word of the most pathetic investigative journalism that's ever been seen in the history of the world in the United States.
More rumblings in Clintonville early this morning.
And what's causing that?
Some Clintonville residents, though, they're speculating, of course. The church's marquee reads, "God is shaking our city. Let's have a revival."
And tonight there are reports of more booming sounds 80 miles away. Police in Montello are now investigating similar sounds.
But so far, I don't have an explanation.
We have a lot of good, reliable sources that reported this pretty much community-wide, and, you know, at this point in time, it is quite the talk of the town. There's no doubt about it.
There was a loud boom, and all the windows shook, the whole house shook.
It felt like my front door was being, trying to be kicked in. My apartment was shaking.
For the third night in a row, unexplained ground shaking has leaders in Clintonville scratching their heads. In our big story, city officials remain at a loss over what this could be. Several theories have been ruled out, including water, other utilities, even an earthquake. The city isn't ordering any evacuations, but some say they are considering leaving town. The booms began early Monday morning, continued Tuesday morning, and came back once again early this morning. People there are on edge. Police say they've received more than 500 calls about vibrations.
The ground is shaking in an unusual way.
Okay, here it is again. Same thing. It's a nighttime. It was much darker than that, and we saw it in Georgia.
And what we're seeing is that these events continue one after another.
The ground is shaking in an unusual way.
Just when you thought there could not be more change going on in the world, magnetic north is moving. Aviators know it has always moved, but not like this. It's just skipping along. It's on the move about 40 miles a year now along the polar cap toward Russia. It's a natural, unstoppable occurrence, but
the compass is becoming more inaccurate every day. It's not a result of faulty manufacturing. It's because the North Pole itself is changing. Follow me now. This problem is actually so drastic that workers at Tampa International and Peter O. Knight airports are rushing to make changes. And Brooks Garner, our meteorologist and local science, do we dare say nerd, spent the day looking into this polar shift.
When most people hear North Pole, they think of Santa Claus. And while he'll always be at the very top of the world,
there's also a magnetic pole, which is produced by fluctuations or flow of iron in the core of the Earth.
Dr. Chris Connor of USF explains that the constantly moving molten iron acts like a giant car alternator, creating a magnetism on a planetary scale with a magnetic north and south pole.
But over the last few decades, it's been moving, and now it's moved all the way from northern Canada into northern Siberia.
Which means what your compass shows as north in Tampa Bay isn't really north. And this is a problem for airports.
When a pilot navigates, he needs to find which is the correct runway to land in or take off on. So he uses his compass in his cockpit to orient himself. They'll tell him that he's on the correct runway.
Robert Burr of TIA says runway 36 originally pointed due north to 360 degrees. Or it did before the magnetic shift. Now it points just right at 10 degrees north, even though physically it hasn't moved. While the runway in question will always point to the true geographic North Pole, because the magnetic North Pole has now shifted, pilots who use compasses lining up on the runway may think they're in the wrong spot unless this problem is corrected. So TIA has resolved to paint new numbers to match the pilot compass readings. Now runway 36 is runway 1. But this may only be a temporary fix. Several times per million years, Earth's magnetic pole does a full flip. At first, it becomes disorganized, with new poles popping up in odd places like the equator, bringing the green and red northern lights to the skies of Florida. The last shift was over 700,000 years ago, leaving some to say we're due.
Some people have speculated that there's a shift beginning.
Okay,
which may explain
with all of these signs, I figured the Antichrist, he must be already out here somewhere. Maybe he's involved with all that mess in the Middle East. Let me take a closer look at Revelations.